to the Retay Nation podcast. Join along with our team at Retay as we bring you interviews, stories, and reviews from members of our growing community right to your ears. Whether it's in the blind, truck, or at home, we hope you enjoy the show. This is the Retay Nation podcast. Let's go.
Well, welcome back to episode 6 of the Retay Nation podcast. We are actually doing an outdoor podcast today.
We're outdoors, Hunter.
Yes, and luckily the clouds are out because it'd be pretty warm if the sun was hitting us right now. We're sitting in the shade, though.
Yeah,
it's a great day in the middle of Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's a strange voice.
Oh, we have a guest.
We have a guest.
We have a live guest.
We have a live guest.
Yeah,
live today.
Should I not have said anything?
No,
no, this is a free speaking podcast.
Yeah,
There's
free
no
speech
rules.
is welcome here.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We apologize ahead of time for Mike's heavy diesel in the background because we have no power out here, so the podcast board is plugged into his truck. And if you hear some gunshots, that's some guests shooting some retays in the background.
That's right. Boom, boom.
So, Mike, what are we doing today?
We're at the Wisconsin Waterfowl Expo, Friday afternoon kicking off, and we have the executive director of Wisconsin Waterfowl Association that runs this great event, Bruce Ross.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, Michael, Hunter. Good to meet you guys.
Yeah.
And Michael, I've seen you out here before,
Yeah.
but it's really great to have Retay involved in the show.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. We're looking forward to it. Put a lot of guns in people's hands, especially the youth, the women. It was a great event last year, and this year it's going to be even better because we're a day and a half.
Yeah.
And you guys changed from a one-day platform to an afternoon because just such a demand. It's a growing event. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, we've been doing this. This is our 5th expo. We couldn't even spell expo 5 years ago, and now we're running one. And we're just super excited about it. We call it a celebration of all things waterfowling. So if you want to come out here like we are and pull the trigger and shoot some clay birds, try some new guns, super excited to have Retay here. You can do that, but if you're interested in decoy carving or if you want to bring your family out, we got a killing it youth zone that you can paint decoys, tie lures, learn how to load a shotgun shell for anywhere from 6 to 16 years of age.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, there's more. We had a good team that began to put this together. The vast majority of it is volunteers, and we had a good team when we started out on this path 6 years ago. We looked at other models, and we wanted to build something that was not too overblown, but something that would celebrate waterfowl. If you're interested in waterfowling in any aspect, from decoy carving to shooting to calling, we have the state calling contest here. The latest and greatest in technology and in the field, and it's here. There's more to do than there's time to do it.
That's awesome. Something you guys are promoting too, besides kids, is you guys got a women's part here.
Yeah, we started that last year. We got WWA, Wisconsin Waterfowl Association, got a grant from through the Pittman-Robertson, through the DNR, to kind of explore ways to bring underrepresented communities into the waterfowling community, and we've had the most success with women, and we've got a bang-up team of volunteers again who are just creating a community, a women's community year-round, not just during the season, but year-round, learning how to go out and waterfowl and just have fun, like guys typically do in the field. And so they run. It's a for women by women waterfowl hunt in Trempealeau National Wildlife Refuge.
Wow.
And they get together. We rent a big house, and there's 12 or 14 women in it, and they spend the weekend there. And they mentor brand new waterfowlers and cook great meals, so I hear, and then go out and have a special hunt.
Boy, that sounds like something we should get involved in.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, absolutely.
Really cool.
Yeah, maybe you can do an introduction for us.
Yeah, I can do that. The women's zone is just a little bit south of us here. So
yeah, you guys got a women's zone.
Yeah, we do. That by women for women hunt has kind of expanded into the expo, and so we have a gun fitter here who can outfit lighter framed women and make sure that the shotgun fits their body, and then they can go out here in the trap field and pull the trigger and kill some clay birds.
Wow, that's really
and
cool.
get comfortable before they're out there in the field.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's an intimidating thing for for really just about anybody, but especially a woman in what is typically a male sport.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And a big thing too is you put a full size stock on a smaller frame person. Length of pull is a big thing, and that's something we do very well on our Gordian platform. Is we have the compact gun where you can change the length of pull from 12.5 to 14.5 inches by taking those shims out, for a female or even a youth.
Yeah,
and then
into it.
Yep. When they become an adult, you can contact us and you get a full-size stock for that gun. So that's a great platform that we have, and we cater to that market, and that's a growing market for us too, and especially in this industry. I'm glad you guys saw that too, and that's a big growing part of our industry, and it's so often forgotten, and I'm glad you guys have an outreach program like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's just getting off the ground, and the leaders of it are super excited, and it just seems to grow organically. We're not throwing a lot of energy into it from the organization. It just has that energy within it.
Yeah.
And now we're looking for new areas to do it, and create kind of a unique special hunt.
Yeah.
that allows that cadre to get together.
So if somebody was interested in getting involved in that, where would they go, Bruce, to get that information or find it?
Yeah, so on our website, Wisconsin Waterfowl Association, wisducks.org, so WISDUCKS.org, and search for women by women, or just rummage around our website and you'll come across it, and there's a application on there, and you can fill it out, and we'll get back in touch with you. One of our leaders of the program will get back in touch with you.
Awesome.
And what we're really interested in right now is expanding as efficiently as we can, so that requires mentors, and so we're looking for women who want to help expand that female community.
Yeah, I like how it's by women for women, and I think that's really important too. That mentorship and that camaraderie amongst women. Just like we have our guy time and our guy hunt. I mean, that's just as important for the women as well too. Like have their own time doing their own thing, and like you said, to adjust the guns for them versus just saying, hey, here's a youth model, or here's a men's small jacket. I mean. Yeah, I think that, it's cool to see how the women's sport has grown just across the board in hunting, and how it's become more of a specialty thing, not just like, oh, yeah, here's a pink jacket, the small,
right.
They deserve just as good a stuff as we do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We have a company, DSG Outdoors here, who focuses on women in the outdoors, and they're a sponsor of the Women's Zone, and it's really interesting. As I said, this kind of grew organically, not because the leadership of WWA decided it was the right thing to do, but because a couple of and this is what I love about Wisconsin Waterfowl Association. We're a small organization. We're state-based. We have a staff of 8. Half of them are ecologists. We do thousands of acres around the state of wetland restoration. But we have a good team of women who saw this opportunity and just grabbed a hold of it, and they're making it happen.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and an organization like WWA, we're getting a lot done, but we're getting a lot done not on the backs of our staff, because we're not big enough.
Yeah.
And so it's the volunteers. There's an opportunity. If you see something you want to do in the waterfowling world, and you're in Wisconsin, come to us, and we'll give you some rope.
Sure.
And you can get out there and kind of make a difference.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
There's a spot I drive up to Ocano, right on the right side on the highway. I see the sign every time, WWA, those ponds. There's a nice blind there.
Yep.
Something we talked about on the last podcast was Wisconsin is a top 5 state for waterfowls in the country.
Yeah, 5 or 4, it seems to bounce around, but you're right.
It's amazing. You wouldn't think that. Like, we're not talking about amazing waterfowl habitat in the state. And, we have some big marshes, but we don't have the pushes of birds that the Dakotas do or down south. So it's amazing to see there's that many hunters for what the waterfowling is here.
Yeah, there's a strong culture of, and it's a different culture than you find down south, or maybe even out in North Dakota or South Dakota, where you're finding those backyard puddles, and we have some big marshes as well. We get here in Wisconsin. There's so many different types of duck hunting. You can go out to the Mississippi and shoot cans that are flying down in the tens of almost hundreds of thousands
that's amazing.
of numbers. You can shoot on the east coast of Wisconsin. You can shoot longtails and see other sea ducks. Here in the freshwater Lake Michigan, and then in between there's your traditional
puddle
field
ducks.
and puddle hunting.
Yeah,
it's really pretty amazing state.
Yeah, you can really hunt however you would like to hunt. I mean, I know friends who strictly layout hunt, big water hunt. Then you guys like Mike who doesn't like to, get wet, just strictly field hunt. And then you got guys like me who's walking in a field that's mud, a flooded field up to my knee in mud to drag a jet sled back full of decoys. So you can do almost any kind of waterfowling that you can do.
And you can do it in about a day, right?
Yeah.
You can travel from one to the other and do it in a day.
Yeah. And even that, you can change from water to field to a muddy field. So there's options. There's so many options here in the state, so you can mix it up in a day, which is fantastic. You don't get that a lot in other states. You get it here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of public lands, right? For the most part, Wisconsin waterfowlers, and there's 60 to 70,000 of them in the state. They're public land hunters.
Yeah.
I mean, we have private clubs, and there's the big water, but the DNR has 1.6 million acres of land here in the state, and much of that, some of that anyways, is waterfowl related. One of the things the WWA does, we have an agreement with the DNR. Some of our ecologists work in the public lands and to restore wetlands. So we've got we just finished about 700 acres of wetland restoration up in the Necedah area, Meadow Valley State Wildlife Area. And then we're going to continue working into Necedah, working on the Federal Reserve up there. And we're on track to do 3,000 acres of wetland restoration that you and I can walk through. So in the refuge, you may not be able to hunt, but that's producing birds and keeping birds in the area.
Yeah, that's great. I guess another question I had is in terms, that's more public land. On private land side of things, to speak from experience, another organization I've worked with in the past is Wings Over Wisconsin in terms of building habitat on private land and getting grants and helping you work with the DNR to set up your own marsh or, the restoration of a marsh. Like, do you guys do anything like that?
Yeah, that's kind of where we got our start. We've done over 10,000 acres around the state on private lands. And you might think that's, or some of your listeners might think, well, that's just benefiting that landowner. Of course, there's some benefit for that, but they also have some skin in the game there. If it's the right project, we'll bring some money to it, but the landowner has to have some skin in the game, and then because they have skin in the game, they maintain it. That's tough to do. But of course, ducks are migratory birds. They don't respect the property boundaries, state boundaries, or international boundaries. So if you're not breeding them in the spring, and Wisconsin is a bird-producing, flyway contributing state. If we're not producing wood ducks, we have the biggest wood duck box program in the state. If we're not paying attention to private lands are 75% of the state's wetlands and 85% of the state's restorable wetlands. So if you're not paying attention to that, you're not putting birds in the air.
No, that's a really good point. Like you said, it really, like you said, maybe you're not able to hunt there, but like it really ultimately benefits everybody. Yeah. Just hold more birds in the state.
Yeah, and our focus is at least on private lands, is breeding habitat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and this year there was a record hatch, or it was a really good number of hatch this year.
It was a decent hatch. I wouldn't call it a banner year, but it's up a little bit from last year. And the big three in Wisconsin that generally we're producing were mallards and blue-winged teal and wood ducks. Wood ducks are up considerably. And
wood ducks! I love wood ducks.
Yeah, they're tasty. They're fun to hunt, and of course they're just beautiful.
Oh, beautiful birds! We got just oodles of them up here. And unfortunately, in terms of a mountier bird, like they kind of seem to head out of here before they get fully plumed out. Some of those late season field hunts, if you get some ones that stuck around, but the guys down south are definitely benefiting from our habitat up here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said earlier, WWA has the largest wood duck box program in the state, and we're putting thousands of ducklings on the ground every single year.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Absolutely fantastic. You know, one of the things that I just want to go back to here is what do you think is one of the best things that you guys have done as an organization in the past 10 years? Because I've been a member for a long time, and way back in when Muskego got me involved many years ago, in the past 10 years, you talk about restoration. One of the best things you guys have done as an organization for the state.
Yeah, well, we have 3 missions, and we focus on 3. We've been around for 41 years. The guys who founded WWI, I'm still talking to them. I get emails from them. I mean, that's hard to believe.
That is crazy.
It's one angry man started WWA. So Jerry Solzerd, Jerry, if you're out there, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but you should, especially this one. Jerry was really upset at the DNR making rules that didn't take into account the waterfowler in the state. And he said, I'm gonna change this dynamic. I'm gonna get my buddies together. Going to create WWA. There were national organizations that operated in the state, but they weren't really speaking to the hunting issue that Jerry and his buddies were experiencing. So here WWA is 41 years later. Like to think of ourselves as the voice of waterfowlers in Wisconsin. So. So that's one mission. I'll come back to that. I want to talk about Sandhill cranes a little bit.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you guys want to talk about that.
Oh, I'd love to.
I like to eat them.
Yeah. And so that's one mission. The other is education. And you know, some organizations might look at that as just bringing new hunters into the next generation of hunters into the fold. But we look at it as a continuum of education. How do we turn that new? How do we create that newbie, first of all, and then how do we turn them into a seasoned veteran? And finally, how do they get to that passionate conservation thing that I think we hunters
all turn into, right?
Yeah,
Eventually,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's a process. It's we looked hard at Aldo Leopold, a Wisconsin native,
Sure.
and looked at the arc he went on from hunter to his land ethic. And we kind of built our model along that, and there's programs all along that arc to try and accelerate that or educate and make sure that those things aren't forgotten. So that's the second mission, education. And the third then is the habitat restoration that we talked about, both on private lands and public lands. So what I'm most proud of, I'm getting ready to retire. We're interviewing my relief right now. But what I'm most proud over the 7 years that I've been here in the executive director role is that we've built a team of volunteers who are committed and empowered to make a difference in the state. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but holy moly, this expo, you've seen it, Michael.
Yeah.
We've gone from nothing to really a show that competes. If you talk to any of the vendors in here that have been here before and then compare us against the national shows, they say, if you're measuring it by revenue produced, this is a great show. But we also do all the other things that we were talking about that those other shows don't do. That could not happen without the volunteers who make it happen.
Right.
And I'm paid staff, but this happens because of volunteers.
Right.
And it's impressive. At least it's impressive to me. So that's the thing I'm proud about. I was in the Coast Guard for a long time, and every 2 to 3 years I moved around. And so you kind of, part of the ethic that I got from that was you need to leave it better than you found it, and you need to prepare to hand it over to your successor. I'm really proud that we've got a team that's ready to take it to the next level.
That's great.
So
That's
that's
great.
what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is really great.
Sandhill cranes, you want to talk about that? I can see it right on the tip of your tongue. And
That's like a buzzword in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
A trigger point to some.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Well, the International Crane Foundation is here in Wisconsin.
Yep.
That's headquarters of, their URL is savingcranes.org. So, that's what they should be about, and we respect that. At the same time, we respect the Constitution that has a guarantee to harvest except for unreasonable restrictions. Mm-hmm. And there's the Sandhill crane population in Wisconsin is 3 times what the feds think we need to have in terms of starting a hunt. And it's causing $1 million worth of costs to farmers. And it's as I said, if you follow the law, if you follow common sense, if you're not an anti-hunter, then it only makes sense to establish Sandhill crane hunt here in Wisconsin. It'll help create an hunting opportunity, great field-to-table opportunity, and then it'll also help control the population as a game management tool. So we're the leading voice in that. We've worked with Delta Waterfowl and other organizations that have similar interests on that, but we're certainly the leading voice on that. So it's a struggle. It's an education. We've been at it 4 or 5 years now, and so what we're about is first understanding what the issues are, and then trying to educate the legislators and the population writ large across Wisconsin. But yeah, it's an emotional issue, so we're working at it. We'll see where it gets to this year.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I get asked by a lot of people who maybe specifically don't waterfowl hunt, like, oh, how come there's no crane hunt? And, you know, I was an environmental studies major in Oshkosh here, and my professor was a huge volunteer for the whooping cranes. And so I usually have to explain to people that Wisconsin, I believe, is the #1 population for whooping cranes at one point, if not for hatchlings or the population of whooping cranes.
Yeah, interestingly, there is a native and self-sustaining whooping crane population down in the southern parts of the state, so Texas, Oklahoma, that area. But the crane population, the whooping crane population in Wisconsin, is not self-sustaining.
Yeah.
It's shrinking dramatically.
Yeah.
And it's not because Sandhill crane hunters are inadvertently shooting whoopers. It's just it's gotten so far down on that population curve that it's just tough to bring it back. And you know, cranes that are raised in captivity don't know how to become crane parents.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah. So I mean. And no ethical hunter wants to shoot a whooping crane, right?
Sure.
Because they're beautiful birds and they're endangered. But this population, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife here in Wisconsin calls it the experimental non-essential population. So it's an attempt to try and bring them back.
Right.
The Fish and Wildlife recognizes it's an attempt, and maybe it's not. We don't know where it's going to go, but that shouldn't get in the way, according to the Fish and Wildlife Service. That should not get in the way of pursuing legitimate hunting opportunities, such as with Sandhill cranes.
So is that the biggest holdup? It doesn't sound like that's the holdup.
Well, it's political. I mean,
it's 100% political here.
Yeah, and you know, and it's emotional, right? You know, population of hunters in Wisconsin is maybe 10 or 12% on the high side, and so. You know, how can you shoot these beautiful birds? And they don't understand the conservation piece that hunters bring to the table. You know, I mean, hunters and anglers are the the conservation engine across the United States. They don't do it alone. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah.
But they're certainly again back to that educational arc.
Right.
You know, how do you get from a newbie, a trigger puller, to a passionate conservation?
Yeah, and state park fees. You know, our licenses go to how much contribution to. Restoration at state parks, trails, and we contribute a lot to the state that non-hunters aren't aware of.
Yeah,
right.
And we need to do a better job of educating, right? And because it's a two-handed thing, right? I mean, yeah, you're taking the life of an animal, right? You're bringing it to the table,
right?
If you're a vegan, I respect the fact that you're anti-hunting, maybe, but if you're not, if you're going to McDonald's eating the hamburgers or cooking a steak on you shouldn't be anti-hunting, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting discussion, and part of that is education. Again, we're a small percentage of the population. How do we have a larger voice together?
Right.
It's a team.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're not a waterfowler, and even if you never intend to pull a trigger on a sandhill crane, go out in the field and set up some decoys and hunt sandhill cranes, even if you don't do that, if you're a hunter, this is a hunting issue. It's a constitutional issue.
Right.
Well,
and there's some specific, I have specific, I know off the top of my head, places I turkey hunt that are Wisconsin Waterfowl Association, habitat restoration places as well, too. So it's not, whether, maybe you're not, like you said, maybe you're not specifically hunting waterfowl, but deer, turkey, squirrel, small game. I mean, everything is benefiting from the habitat restorations.
Yeah, and it's not just the hunters who benefit from that, whether they're chasing any one of those critters you mentioned, but it's the communities that surround those wetlands, right? It seems if there's an environmental issue today, wetlands are part of the solution. So,
well, the big rains we had in Milwaukee a few weeks ago, I could tell you if there's a large marsh down there, it may not have been so bad.
Yeah.
That water's got to go somewhere.
Right. Yeah, well, the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District, which is responsible for controlling those floods down in that Milwaukee area, they're buying lands upstream to create wetlands and to store water back where it falls on the land.
Interesting.
And so they call that the Green Seams program. We actually are doing similar work.
Oh, that's great.
That's fantastic. I just want to go back to, field the table, right? I've prepared wild game for people, and you guys probably have too, that have never hunted, never had it before, and they're like, you're making what? I said, when you have this, you're going to look and say, I can't believe that is goose or speck or pheasant or a turkey or a duck or a crane. And I make it and they're like, this is fantastic. Yeah. This is unbelievable. Like we've been here, right? And I won't share recipes with you, Hunter, because they're too good.
You won't share them with me.
I will not. It's just the way it is. I got special recipes I make for only certain people. And someday
I'm not going to benefit.
I'm going to make them for Cass.
The goose pastrami, man. You got to give it up.
Okay, if you guys want recipes, Joel Clayfish, I don't know if you know Joel. Joel was a former legislator. He introduced the first Sandhill crane bill in Wisconsin. Got shot down very quickly. But he's now a lobbyist. We've hired him as a lobbyist to help us advance this issue in Wisconsin. But he's here at the expo today. You were wondering how I was going to bring this back to recipes. Mm-hmm. I just saw him on the way up here. Yeah. He's moving a grill, a Blackstone into the tent down on the main stage. He's going to be cooking up some geese.
Nice.
And he's here today and he's here tomorrow. So
that's awesome.
So it can be done, and people should enjoy it. And he eats. He claims 70 to 80% wild game.
And that I'll tell you right now.
That's us too.
That's us.
Yeah.
That's all we do. And going back to what I was saying is, when people have this, they're like, I can't believe it. And this is all I eat. This is all we eat. And we talk about it all the time on our podcast. Like, unfortunately, the only meat I don't eat that's wild is pork, because we don't have wild pigs and we don't want them. Yeah. We don't want them. Okay. But that's the only thing, because I don't go down to Texas and shoot them. I did it a couple times, but what came home is gone. But in my freezer, it's turkey, it's duck, it's goose, it's venison. Hopefully I'll shoot an elk here in about a month, so that's what we eat. And people that have never tried it, they're like amazed. And I'm like, just your health, your cholesterol, all those counts, that's all going to go down. It's all natural. And you just got to know how to cook it. You prepare it. It's a red meat, so think about things. So it's fantastic. And when people get that through their head, I think they'll understand. And I've been around people, these cranes are ripping up my yard. They've watched them kill other baby birds in their yards. Have you ever seen that? They're carnivores.
No, I haven't seen that.
I lived in a subdivision where the neighbors complained that, they killed, baby turkeys. They chase after them, and they'll kill them, and they'll eat them, and they'll flip them in the air, and they'll eat other birds. And the neighbors were just totally like, oh, they're so cute with their babies, and they're killing other birds, ripping up their garden beds and everything. And it's like, are there ever going to be a season on this? And I'm like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, we can, but it's people like you that thought this is all cute that don't want this, but we can come together and keep, because what's going to happen, Bruce, right? There's going to be a disease. There's going to be a kill-off. There has to be a balance, right?
Yeah, and if you go back 15 years here in Wisconsin, maybe 20 years, Canada geese, they were a rare sight.
Yes.
And
when I was a kid, you got to get tags in the Horicon Marsh.
Yeah, and now that is they're everywhere.
If you pull into the expo here, there's only 300 sitting in the front lawn.
It's great. I mean, there's flights of 50 or 60 coming in and landing, and then pooping all over the parking lot, and that's part of the issue, right? So with wild animals living amongst humans, there's going to be conflicts.
Yep. Always.
And really, it's just about keeping things in check. We're not calling it eradication. It's a balance, right?
There's got to be a healthy balance.
Right. Yeah. Interestingly, there are every year in Wisconsin farm fields there are already about 1,400 cranes killed every single year under depredation permits.
I was going to ask about this.
I have a friend who's a farmer, and he has those tags.
Yeah,
and I heard they have to leave them lay. They can't take them.
Yeah, what a waste of, of perfectly good.
Makes me sick.
Yeah, and you can turn a blind eye to that, and I think people have to if they're going to oppose a hunt, right? So it's, you said Mr. and Mrs. Liberal. If they don't understand that those birds are already being killed, that's about the size of the population that would be hunted and harvested.
Right, anyway. Yeah, it's already happening.
Yeah.
But that's going to go to feed people.
But it's going to be on the table.
Instead of, hey, it's being wasted. There it is. Coyotes get to eat them. Now we have a coyote problem coming to this guy's farm, and what are they going to do?
Yep.
They're always showing up for a meal now.
Yeah.
So this is a vicious cycle we're starting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's stop that vicious cycle. Let us harvest these birds and take them home to feed our family and friends.
I always find that amazing how sometimes that, there are other ways to go about to maybe remove a certain animal, that they're having a problem with. And you could just have a hunt, or you could, even if it's fishing too, there's ways that you could, ethically use these animals that would just be wasted, have a hunt. That's what we're here for, to manage the wildlife.
Yeah, and so there's a booth here in at the expo, WWA booth that helps share the information about a responsible sandhill crane hunt here in Wisconsin. So it's part of the education process. We've got a couple legislators coming tomorrow, and that'll be a part of the discussion. They're going to be more interested in the volumes of people that we're going to have here. Looks like a great day. I'm touching wood as I say this, or I'm thinking about touching wood as I say this. Yeah, so it's an ongoing educational process with legislators and with the public, and we're in it for the long haul. It may take a few years, but we're there.
Still a few years out, huh?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
I feel like every year it's inching.
Yeah. Well, this past year we were instrumental in creating something called a legislative council study. So there was a study of 12 or 14, comprised of 12 or 14. 4 legislators from both houses, both sides of the aisle, farmers and scientists and hunters. They got together and they had experts in to talk about the issues of sandhill cranes, and they came out with a recommendation to establish a hunt as part of their recommendations. That bill has been introduced into the legislature, and now it's going through the process. So
great. So
we're probably further along than we have been in the last decade. But we'll see. For all the reasons we talked about, it's a hill.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Absolutely,
that's awesome.
Progress. It's all we're asking for is a little progress.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, obviously, we'd like to thank your organization for doing things like that.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, just more awareness that there are organizations like this that you can volunteer for, donate money, help out to support these things that are benefiting everybody.
Yeah, it costs you $25 to become a member. You can go down to our booth. We've got a couple booths here, but you can go down to our booth and buy a calendar, $30, best raffle in town. Every day of the year next year, you can win a gun, or you can win something you want to win, and become a member of WWA for $30. If you just want to become a member, $25. And what's important in that is not just the membership dollars that come into WWA to allow us to do the work we've talked about, but being able to count as members more than the 7,000 or 8,000 that we have as members for WWA right now. If we want to be the voice of waterfowlers, then we need a bigger percentage of those 70,000 waterfowlers in the state.
Well, and I know all those 60 to 70,000 waterfowlers spend a lot of money a year on decoys, gas scouting, quick trip snacks. So you know what? I think you can fork up $25 to support an organization.
30. 30 to be a member.
Yeah, 30 to be a member.
Yeah. Well, 30 to get the calendar and
the
be
calendar,
a member.
Mike.
So it's
sorry.
And by the way, you can buy that calendar online at wisducks.org.
There you go.
Become a member, and every day next year you'll have a chance to win something.
So here's my thing. Everybody that's in Wisconsin, if you're a DU and a Delta member, go to
wisducks.org
and be a member, because you're here in Wisconsin. So if you're DU and Delta, join WWA. Why not?
Right, and that's they're doing things that are specifically impacting us.
Yeah, we're not-
Versus, and we're not knocking
No.
Ducks
Yeah,
or
'cause-
Delta because
right.
we're,
They
but
do
that's-
stuff
We're
here.
talking large scale there,
Right.
But
But they do stuff here.
Yeah, they do stuff here.
Right.
They do.
Right.
They do.
They do.
And they're impressive organizations. Before I took this position with WWA, volunteered with Ducks Unlimited. I was actually their conservationist of the year immediately before taking this position. But I felt I could do more, and even with a smaller organization. I was in the Coast Guard for 28 years, and we had a saying that I'd rather be the captain of the pilot boat to hell than the executive officer of the USS Enterprise. so because you're the boss, right?
Yeah,
and so
right.
you get to have your strong hand on the tiller, and I told you what I was proud about, and it's a great team that as
fantastic.
I retire in another month or so, we can be on. And I hope to remain involved with WW. I like writing habitat grants. I get a kick out of that, and that's
amazing.
helping us.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
fantastic. That's great. I love it.
Yeah,
This was a good one,
this
Hunter.
was a good one. I think we're gonna do more live podcasts outside
Outside with my
live
truck running.
guests. Yes, not people over the phone with the diesel in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, we certainly appreciate you sitting down with us and sharing all this information, and it's been an awesome talk.
Yeah,
Hey,
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, and thanks for Retay coming out here and bringing your products that I guess they've been here in Wisconsin for a while, but we hadn't seen a lot of them. We hadn't heard a lot about them, and this is a great opportunity for you to come out and pull the triggers, and I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yeah,
Right on.
it'll be a great event. Thanks
Yeah.
again.
Okay, you bet.
All right.
Take care, guys.